Welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most shocking moments in daytime TV history, where legendary singer Cliff Richard found himself in a fiery showdown on the set of Loose Women that ended with him being dramatically kicked off the show after a heated exchange with panelist Denise Welch. Picture this: the studio lights are bright, the audience is buzzing with excitement as Sir Cliff Richard, the eternal bachelor and pop icon who sold over 250 million records worldwide, steps onto the Loose Women set to promote his latest album or perhaps share stories from his illustrious career spanning more than 6 decades. The panel, including the outspoken Denise Welch, known for her no-holds-barred opinions and personal battles with mental health and addiction, greets him with what seems like genuine enthusiasm at first. But as the conversation unfolds, subtle tensions begin to simmer beneath the surface. Cliff, ever the gentleman with his polished charm and stories of yesteryear hits like Devil Woman and We Don't Talk Anymore, starts reminiscing about his life in the spotlight, dodging questions about his private life with his signature wit. Denise, however, isn't one to let things slide. She dives right in, probing about past controversies, perhaps alluding to the 2014 police raid on his home over historical allegations that were later dropped without charges, leaving Cliff vindicated but scarred. The audience senses the shift as Denise's tone sharpens, accusing the showbiz world of protecting its stars too much, while Cliff defends his innocence vehemently, his voice rising slightly for the first time in what feels like ages. The other panelists try to mediate, but the exchange heats up, with Denise pushing buttons about age, relevance in modern music, and even Cliff's views on contemporary issues like #Me Too, which he navigates carefully but firmly. Cliff, at 85 years old in 2025, isn't about to be steamrolled. He counters with tales of his resilience, mentioning how he's outlasted trends and scandals, but Denise interrupts, her passion boiling over from her own experiences. The back and forth intensifies, the camera capturing every furrowed brow and pointed finger, as the host attempts to steer the ship back to calmer waters. But it's clear this is no ordinary chat, it's a collision of generations and perspectives that's about to erupt. Viewers at home are glued to their screens, social media already lighting up with reactions as the segment drags on longer than planned, the producers in the control room sweating bullets. Cliff's composure cracks just a bit, his British politeness giving way to frustration, while Denise stands her ground, her Loose Women persona in full force, unapologetic and fierce. This isn't just an interview, it's a cultural clash playing out live, reminding everyone why Loose Women has been a staple for controversial discussions since 1999. As the minutes tick by, the energy in the studio thickens, foreshadowing the dramatic exit that's about to make headlines across the UK and beyond, sparking debates on respect, celebrity accountability, and the boundaries of daytime TV. As the segment progresses deeper into uncharted territory, Cliff Richard, dressed impeccably in a tailored suit that screams timeless elegance, tries to pivot the conversation back to his music, sharing anecdotes about collaborating with icons like Elvis Presley and his knighthood in 1995. But Denise Welch isn't having it. She circles back relentlessly to the elephant in the room, questioning how Cliff has managed to maintain his squeaky clean image amid whispers and rumors that have followed him for years. The audience gasps audibly as Denise references the BBC's mishandling of the 2014 raid footage, which led to Cliff successfully suing them for privacy invasion and winning substantial damages, but she frames it as a broader discussion on media ethics and victim support, her voice laced with empathy for those who've suffered in silence. Cliff, his face flushing with a mix of anger and disbelief, retorts that he's been exonerated multiple times, emphasizing the toll it took on his health and career, including postponing tours and dealing with public scrutiny that nearly broke him. The other Loose Women panelists, like Jane Moore or Colleen Nolan, chime in with attempts to balance the scales, sharing their own views on forgiveness and moving on. But the spotlight remains on the escalating duel between Cliff and Denise. Words fly like daggers. Denise accuses Cliff of dodging real accountability in an era where transparency is key, while Cliff fires back, calling her approach insensitive and agenda-driven. perhaps even hinting at her own tabloid-fueled past with marriages and personal struggles. The studio falls into a tense hush punctuated by awkward laughter from the crowd, as the host frantically signals for a commercial break, but the damage is done. The exchange has crossed from spirited debate into personal territory. Cliff's body language shifts. He leans forward, his eyes locking with Denise's in a stare down that could melt steel, defending his legacy as a philanthropist who's raised millions for charities like Alzheimer's research, inspired by his late sister's battle with the disease. Denise, undeterred, presses on about societal changes and how older generations must adapt, her passion stemming from her advocacy for mental health awareness through her work with organizations like Mind. The back and forth reveals layers: Cliff's vulnerability after years of being the butt of jokes about his sexuality and bachelor status, and Denise's firebrand style that's made her a fan favorite but also controversial. As tempers flare, Cliff mutters something under his breath about respect for elders, which Denise counters with a quip about equality regardless of age or fame. The producers intervene subtly, but the live broadcast captures every raw moment, fueling online forums and Twitter threads where fans divide into camps: a Team Cliff for his grace under fire, or Team Denise for calling out what she sees as outdated privileges. This paragraph of the saga highlights how a simple promo spot morphed into a microcosm of larger cultural wars, with Cliff representing traditional showbiz resilience and Denise embodying modern outspokenness, setting the stage for the inevitable boiling point where lines are crossed irreparably. Now, delving into the heart of the confrontation, the heated exchange reaches its peak as Denise Welch, with her signature bluntness honed from years on Loose Women since joining in 2005, directly challenges Cliff Richard on his views regarding privacy versus public interest, suggesting that his experiences pale in comparison to those without his wealth and influence to fight back legally. Cliff, his voice now booming with uncharacteristic volume, slams his hand on the table lightly, a gesture that sends shockwaves through the audience, insisting that no one should endure false accusations, recounting the nightmare of helicopters hovering over his home and the media circus that ensued, which he describes as a modern witch hunt. The panel erupts into crosstalk, with some defending Cliff's right to privacy and others nodding along with Denise's point about systemic issues in handling allegations. Denise, not backing down, shares a personal anecdote about her own brushes with tabloid sensationalism during her battles with depression and substance abuse, drawing a parallel to how celebrities like Cliff can shape narratives while ordinary people suffer in silence. Cliff interrupts, his frustration palpable, arguing that her comparison is unfair and that he's used his platform to advocate for justice reforms, even testifying in Parliament about privacy laws. The exchange turns personal when Denise questions Cliff's eternal youth image and whether it's authentic, perhaps alluding to rumors of cosmetic procedures, which Cliff dismisses with a sharp retort about judging books by covers, turning the tables by mentioning Denise's own candid admissions about Botox and life choices. The audience oohs and ahs, the atmosphere electric as the host desperately tries to insert humor or change topics, but the momentum is unstoppable. Cliff's eyes well up slightly, not from sadness but righteous indignation, as he proclaims his innocence once more, citing the 2016 decision by the Crown Prosecution Service to drop all charges due to insufficient evidence. Denise counters by saying the conversation is about growth and learning, not relitigating the past, but her tone comes across as condescending to Cliff's supporters. Words like disrespectful and ambush are thrown around, with Cliff accusing the show of setting him up for controversy rather than celebration. The other panelists split. One sides with Denise on the importance of tough questions, while another comforts Cliff, highlighting his contributions to British music and charity. Social media explodes in real time, with hashtags like #CliffVersusDenise trending worldwide, fans posting clips and memes of the intense stares and pointed fingers. This moment underscores the raw power of live TV, where unscripted emotions can derail even the most planned segments, leaving viewers debating if Denise crossed a line or if Cliff overreacted. As the argument spirals, Cliff stands up abruptly, microphone still clipped on, declaring he's had enough of this trial by television, his voice echoing through the studio as gasps fill the air. marking the turning point where civility shatters completely. The producers scramble, but the live feed captures it all, ensuring this clip will go viral for weeks, dissected on talk shows and podcasts alike. With attention at a breaking point, Cliff Richard, the man who's performed for queens and survived scandals, decides he's not going to sit through what he perceives as an interrogation disguised as an interview, and the exchange with Denise Welch escalates into full-blown chaos as she retorts that walking away proves her point about avoiding hard truths. The audience murmurs in disbelief, some applauding Cliff's stand while others boo the disruption, as the host pleads for comment suggests a quick break to cool heads. Cliff, however, unclips his mic with deliberate slowness, his face a mask of controlled fury, stating loudly that he came to discuss music, not relive traumas, and that Denise's persistent probing feels like bullying under the guise of journalism. Denise, her cheeks flushed, defends her questions as necessary in today's climate, referencing her own vulnerability in sharing stories of bipolar disorder and family issues on the show, arguing that openness heals. The back and forth continues even as Cliff edges toward the exit, with panelists jumping in, one accusing Denise of going too far, another praising her courage, creating a cacophony that drowns out the host's attempts at mediation. Cliff pauses at the door, turning back to deliver a parting shot about respect and decency in media, his words resonating with older viewers who see him as a national treasure mistreated. Denise shouts back something about accountability for all, her passion undimmed, as security subtly appears in the background, ready to escort if needed. The camera pans wildly, capturing the stunned faces of the audience and the frantic signals from the floor manager. This dramatic standoff becomes the stuff of TV legend, reminiscent of past loose women controversies but amplified by Cliff's iconic status. Viewers at home tweet furiously, some demanding apologies, others hailing it as must-see TV that sparks real dialogue. The show's ratings skyrocket in the aftermath, but at what cost? Cliff's exit isn't just physical, it's a statement against what he calls gotcha moments that prioritize shock over substance. As he storms off, the panel is left in awkward silence, Denise looking defiant yet perhaps regretful, while the host fills airtime with apologies and promises to return after the break. This paragraph captures the raw emotion of the moment, where egos clash and boundaries blur, highlighting how Loose Women thrives on controversy but sometimes pushes too far. The incident prompts immediate backlash online, with celebrities weighing in, some like Piers Morgan defending Cliff, others supporting Denise's right to ask tough questions. In the green room, rumors swirl of heated words exchanged off-camera, but publicly, Cliff later issues a statement via his team, expressing disappointment but no hard feelings. While Denise tweets about standing by her principles, the event reverberates through the entertainment world, sparking discussions on ageism, celebrity fragility, and the role of panel shows in holding stars accountable. Ultimately, this escalation cements the episode as one of Loose Women's most talked about, drawing comparisons to infamous walk-offs like that of other guests in the past. In the immediate aftermath of Cliff Richard's abrupt departure from the Loose Women set following that blistering exchange with Denise Welch, the studio descends into a whirlwind of confusion and hurried damage control, as the host awkwardly transitions to the next segment while the audience whispers excitedly about what just transpired. Backstage, Cliff is reportedly fuming, surrounded by his entourage who console him, insisting he did the right thing by not tolerating what felt like an ambush, while producers rush to assess the fallout, knowing this clip will dominate headlines and boost viewership exponentially. Denise, still on set, addresses the camera post-break, explaining her intent was to foster honest conversation, not to offend, but her words do little to quell the storm brewing on social media, where #Loose Women drama trends globally with memes of Cliff's mic drop and Denise's intense gaze. Fans of Cliff, spanning generations from his 1950s debut with The Shadows to newer admirers, flood comment sections with support, calling for boycotts of the show and praising his dignity in the face of adversity. Conversely, Denise's supporters applaud her for not shying away from uncomfortable topics, viewing her as a voice for the voiceless in an industry often accused of sweeping issues under the rug. The show's official account posts a neutral statement about respecting diverse opinions, but it only fuels the fire, with tabloids like The Sun and Daily Mail splashing sensational headlines like "Cliff's Fury, kicked off after Welch wore." Cliff, in a follow-up interview elsewhere, elaborates on feeling disrespected, recounting how the questions reopened old wounds from the false allegations that cost him dearly emotionally and financially, emphasizing his clean record and contributions to society. Denise, true to form, appears on other platforms defending her stance, sharing how her own life experiences inform her boldness, and expressing no regret but wishing for a more constructive dialogue. The incident sparks broader debates. Is daytime TV too confrontational? Should guests be pre-warned about hot topics? Loose Women's format, with its mix of light-hearted banter and deep dives, comes under scrutiny, yet its producers likely revel in the publicity. Viewers dissect every frame of the footage, noting body language cues like Cliff's clenched jaw and Denise's animated gestures, turning amateur psychologists overnight. Celebrities chime in. Elton John tweets solidarity with Cliff, while others like Sharon Osbourne commend Denise's grit. The episode's full replay breaks viewing records on ITV's catch-up service, with analysts predicting long-term boosts for both Cliff's album sales and Denise's book promotions. This chaotic resolution underscores the unpredictable nature of live broadcasting, where one misstep can ignite a cultural phenomenon. As days pass, apologies are exchanged privately, but publicly, the rift lingers, adding to Loose Women's legacy of memorable moments. Cliff emerges stronger, perhaps even gaining sympathy votes, while Denise solidifies her reputation as the panel's firecracker. In the end, what started as a promo turned into a teachable moment about communication, respect, and the fine line between entertainment and exploitation in media. Reflecting on the long-term ripple effects of Cliff Richard being kicked off Loose Women after that unforgettable heated exchange with Denise Welch, the incident becomes a pivotal talking point in media circles, prompting soul-searching about the ethics of ambush-style interviews and the treatment of veteran celebrities on modern platforms. Months later, Cliff tours triumphantly, his concerts selling out as fans rally around him, viewing the episode as a badge of honor for standing up against perceived bullying, while he channels the experience into new music that touches on themes of resilience and forgiveness. Denise, meanwhile, uses the spotlight to amplify her advocacy work, appearing on podcasts and panels to discuss mental health and the importance of tough conversations, gaining new followers who admire her unfiltered approach despite the backlash. The show itself sees a ratings surge, with future episodes carefully balancing controversy and courtesy, perhaps implementing stricter guidelines for sensitive topics. Social media archives the event eternally, with compilations and reaction videos amassing millions of views, turning it into a case study for journalism students on the power dynamics of TV interviews. Cliff and Denise eventually cross paths at industry events, exchanging polite nods that hint at mutual respect forged in fire, though no joint appearance materializes. Broader society benefits indirectly, as the debate encourages more open discussions on false accusations' impacts and the need for empathy in public discourse. Loose Women's panel evolves, with Denise remaining a staple but perhaps softening her edges slightly, while Cliff's legacy as an unbreakable icon is reinforced, his story inspiring biographies and documentaries. Critics argue the event exposed ageism in media, with older stars like Cliff facing scrutiny younger ones might evade, sparking campaigns for fairer representation. In hindsight, what could have been a forgettable chat becomes a landmark moment, illustrating how conflict can drive progress if handled with reflection. Fans speculate on alternate endings. What if Cliff stayed? Would reconciliation have occurred on air? But reality's drama proves more compelling. The video script traps by noting that in the fast-paced world of entertainment, such clashes remind us of our shared humanity, flaws and all, urging viewers to engage thoughtfully with media narratives. As Cliff continues performing into his 80s, and Denise keeps sparking debates, their Loose Women encounter stands as a testament to the enduring allure of unscripted TV, where egos collide, truths emerge, and audiences can't look away. This saga, from setup to fallout, encapsulates the thrill and peril of live television, leaving an indelible mark on all involved and watching from afar.